So I hope you guys enjoyed that little introduction. It was courtesy of The Undertaker, one of the all-time great performers. You guys are any wrestling fans, you guys might be too young, I don't know. You guys watched wrestling a few years ago, you'd see just a fantastic performer. Guy was out there in his 50s. I think he was even in his 60s. They're throwing him around the ring. You know, and he just kept going. You gotta give the guy credit for that. You gotta give it to him. All right, so here we go. Next step in the progression of inequalities is solving inequalities using addition or subtraction. So this is going to be very similar, okay? Very similar to the idea when we did this with equations, okay? So here are our goals for section 2.2. So we are going to solve inequalities using addition and subtraction. Okay, and we're going to use inequalities to solve real life problems. Okay, so that's our goal for this lesson. Probably take us a couple days, which is okay. All right, and so we're going to think of this just like we did when we solved equations. When you had an equation like this, okay, and I know a lot of you guys can look at that and you know the answer in your head. Good for you. Good for you. Good math students. Good number sense. Okay. But there was a way that you did this, okay, with the steps. And you would say, okay, I want to get the x by itself. So what's connected to the x? And you look at the x and it's connected by a +2. So you want to get rid of the +2. So you would go -2 and -2 and you get x equals 7. Well, the nice thing about with these inequalities is that we're going to look at it the same kind of way, okay? If I had x plus 6 is less than or equal to 11, and I look at the equation and how it's connected to the variable, and it says +6, so I want to do the inverse operation of adding 6. And the inverse of adding 6, it's kind of like the opposite, but inverse is the correct terminology. Is the opposite or inverse of adding 6 is subtracting 6. So -6 minus 6, and I get x is less than or equal to 5. Okay, and there's my inequality. And now, of course, you know what's coming next. You know what's coming next. They want us to graph that. So here's 0, here's 5, here's 10. Always, when you do your number line, I don't think you have to do every little dash, but you need a few numbers there. So if you reference 0 or reference some other numbers, or even if you have dashes, even if you put this and put that 0 and went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on this one you made it 5, that's okay too. You can go by 2s, you go by 4s, whatever you want to do, but have a few numbers down there. X is less than or equal to 5. Well, we remember from the last section that when you have either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, you're going to have a closed circle. So we're going to put a closed circle at 5, and we want it to be less than or equal to. So we are going to shade this way, and look at our graph. And there it is. Okay, x is less than or equal to 5. So we'll look at a subtraction one. Let's look at a subtraction one. X minus 6 is greater than 10. So we look at this one and we say, okay, how is the x, what do I have to do to get that x by itself? And it's got a -6 there. So I want to get rid of that -6. And so instead of subtracting 6, I'm going to add 6. So I'm going to go plus 6, and I'm going to get x is greater than 10 plus 6. And we know 10 plus 6 is 16. Okay, so I have x is greater than 16. And now I want to draw my graph. I'm not going to go to 16, guys. 0, 4, 8, 12, 16. X is greater than 16. It's not greater than or equal to. It's not less than or equal to. It's just simply greater than. So I'm going to make an open circle at 16. And I'm going to shade this way. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys a couple. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you guys to try these, try to solve and graph these inequalities. So please, pause the video, okay? I want you guys to solve and graph that inequality. Okay, so I'm hoping that you listened. I'm hoping that you paused the video. If not, there's, not much I can do to help you. Can't sit there over your shoulder. Okay, so we're gonna go plus 5, x is less than 2. So I go to my number line, and here's 0, here's 1, here's 2. I want x is less than 2. So that means I'm gonna have an open circle at 2. Okay, and I'm going to shade to the left. All right, there's my graph. There's my solution to my inequality, and there's the graph of the inequality. Okay. So then we have this next one. Okay, we have this next one. And I'm going to go minus 18 because that's the inverse. The inverse of adding 18 is subtracting 18. So I'm going to go minus 18. Minus 18. S is greater than or equal to 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Closed circle at 3. And we're going to shade this way. So, I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm hoping that that makes sense. Let's try a couple more. Try those too. Again, please, pause that video. Pause that video. Okay, so I'm hoping you've paused that video and we're coming back here. We're going to solve here. So I got to get that y by itself. So I do the inverse of adding 8. The inverse of adding 8 is subtracting 8. So I minus 8 from both sides. So I'm going to get y is less than 5 minus 8. Say negative 3. Here's 0. Here's negative 1. Here's negative 2. Here's negative 3. I want y to be less than a negative 3. Less than a negative 3. So I have an open circle there, and I want to shade this way, smaller than that. Okay? Next one. Well, we got some decimals. So Not always going to be these nice, easy numbers to work with. So we're gonna have to figure this out. And I want to get rid of that 1.4. And it says plus m. Well, it's a positive 1.4. So if I want to get rid of that 1.4 and it's a positive 1.4, then I want to subtract it from both sides. M is greater than. If I have a negative 8 minus 1.4, well, we got to think of our positive and negative numbers. It's like you lose $8 and you lose $1.40. Well, how much are you going to be down? You're going to be down 9.4. Okay? So my inequality, if I read it correctly, excuse me, m is greater than negative 9.4. So here's 0, here's negative 3, here's negative 6, here's negative 9. So negative 9.4 is a little bit smaller than that. It's going to be an open circle. Okay, another open circle. And I want m to be greater than that because I always read from the variable. So that means I'm going to shade this way. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully we're making some progress with these. All right. Let's do some more. Let's see. We'll do some easy ones and then we'll mix in some more difficult ones. There are 3 problems for you guys to try. So please pause that video. Pause the video and give them a shot. We'll see how you did. Okay, so we take a look at this one, and this first one, I'm hoping that you pause that video. If not, you still have time. You can still pause it now. Pause the video, pause it. All right, so we gotta solve it first. I gotta get rid of that plus 5. How do I get rid of the plus 5? Well, I've got to subtract 5 and subtract 5. So I'm gonna get k. This side cancels, is less than or equal to a negative 8. So here's 0, here's negative 2, here's negative 4, here's negative 6, and there is negative 8. I want it to be less than or equal to a negative 8. So I'm going to put a big closed circle on negative 8 on that number line, and I'm going to shade this way. That's less than or equal to a negative 8. Okay? Next one. Fractions. Oh, the beauty of fractions. Don't say you hate fractions, because they're never going away. They're here forever. You got to get used to dealing with them. Okay, you just do. So, let's take a look. Let's see what we should do here. We've got to get rid of that plus 1/6. So I'm going to go minus 1/6, minus 1/6, and I'm going to get z is greater than or equal to 5/6 minus 1/6. I gave you an easy fraction one to start with, okay? And the reason I gave you an easy fraction one to start with is because they have the same denominator. So when they have the same denominator, we can simply combine them. 5/6 minus 1/6 is 4/6. Now 4/6, we know that we can simplify that. So we would divide the top and the bottom by 2, and you're going to get 2/3. So you're going to have z is greater than or equal to 2/3. Okay, kind of running out of room here. here's 0, here's 1. So 1/3 would be right about there. This would be 2/3. Okay, and I can write those in. I can write 1/3. I can write in 2/3. And now I want it to be greater than or equal to 2/3. So I'm going to put a closed circle there, and I'm going to shade in this direction. Okay? All right, let's look at this bottom one. Okay, let's look at this bottom one. It says P plus 0.7 is greater than negative 2/3. So we go down here, and I'm going to have to go minus 0.7 minus 0.7. P is greater than, again, you lose $2.30 and you lose 70 cents. When you combine that, we're going to get a negative 3. So P is greater than a negative 3. So here's 0, here's negative 1, here's negative 2, here's negative 3. That's going to be an open circle at negative 3, and I want it to be greater than. So I'm going to shade out here. Okay? All right. All right. So, I do want to do a couple of problems where we have to deal with fractions, okay? We're trying to teach you fractions here while we're doing these inequalities. Okay, so let's say I had this. P minus 1/5 is greater than, I don't know, P minus 1/5 we'll say is greater than 2/7. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, well actually you know what? I think I'll do this one first. I'll do this one for you, and then I'll give you another one that you can do, okay? So what do I have to do here? Well, I've got to add 1/5, add 1/5. P is greater than. Well, 2/7 and 1/5 do not have the same denominator. So I have to make them have the same denominator, okay? Because I can't say 2/7 plus 1/5 is 3/12. It doesn't work that way. So I need a common denominator for 7 and for 5. So I want the smallest number that 5 and 7 go into evenly. And that's going to be, in this case, it's going to be 5 times 7. So this is going to be 35, and this is going to be 35. So I'd say 7 times what number is 35? And the answer to that is 5. And 2 times 5 is 10, so I get 10 over 35. And then 5 times 7 is 35, and 1 times 7 is 7. So I've got 10 over 35 plus 7 over 35 is going to be 17 over 35. And that is going to be my answer. 17 over 35. Now that's going to be, not a pleasant one to graph. Okay? Not gonna pretend it is. There's 0. There's 1. If I had 17 over 34, that would be a half. So if I go if I make this a half and I do 17 over 35, that's a little bit less than a half. So I'm going to put an open circle here, and then I'm going to shade to the right. Okay? So I'm hoping that made sense. I'm going to give you guys one to try like that. I'll make yours a little bit easier. Alexa, skip. So pause the video, give this one a shot. Let's see what you get. Oh, this song here is Enter Sandman. I'll even write it down for you guys. I think it's Enter Sandman. Some Yankee fans might know. They used to play this for one of the Yankees pitchers. Might be from Metallica. But if you put that